Hello, good people. I'm Scott. That's Davion Bussey, and now cropping in just now is in the Flash outfit is
Oh
Mr.
my
Rob
God.
Manning. And this is Tales from the Film Set. Ryan's going to be on forthwith. He's having a couple of computer hiccups right there. So we're going to be talking today a little bit about the new One Piece live action trailer in the vein of Cowboy Bebop, which Davion is proudly showing the shirt. Will it be like Cowboy Bebop? Will it be like Death Note? Or will it be good? Is the question that I think a lot of people are asking with something like this. So far, the reviews on the trailer via YouTube are a 2-to-1 ratio as far as like to dislike, which is better than I could have seen for certain things, like, for example, Little Mermaid or, God help them, Cleopatra a few weeks ago. But also at the same time, it doesn't really exude a lot of trust in the world of Netflix, given what they've done with some of their other properties of late, including, in this case, what may or may not be with Avatar Last Airbender, where the original creators of the project are like, yeah, we're not doing your thing.
We're done. We're done.
So in this case, I got to say, I'm kind of curious a little bit to see whether or not this is going to be good, whether or not this is going to suck, or whether or not this is going to just definitely be one of the things this year. So before I get into that, while I pull all this kind of stuff up, gentlemen, how are you? I feel like I missed something. I was bouncing between screens, so I have no idea what I just missed there.
No. I'm just laughing at the picture.
Oh
my
yeah.
God.
You know what? I saw that picture. I was going to say I kind of like it. Rob's got basically the little psycho thing going on there with the hair sticking out to the side. Like, we're close with it.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, you.
One Piece.
Yeah.
The Netflix series.
Yes, I like it.
I haven't seen the trailer, but seeing this picture, you ever saw this childhood movie called Pippi Longstocking?
Oh yeah, dude.
This is what this reminds me of.
Dude, I was raised on like really.
Why haven't you seen the? Why haven't you seen the trailer yet?
I've been busy. I didn't know even though the trailer came out.
Scott, send it in the chat.
All right.
Well, I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
In fairness, Davion is busy dealing with the Newark International Film Festival, which starts quite literally tomorrow. So,
I mean, I did do a convention and a premiere, and I still had time to watch it. I'm just kidding.
Dude, I was down here on the couch yesterday. I found out about it, and I'm like, you know what? I am doing somewhere between Jack and shit, and I'm going to watch this thing. And Ryan, you popped on. You've been kind of quiet, but I'm going to give you your window right now. How are you, sir?
Well, first, I think my computer finally figured out that Juneteenth is a federally noticed holiday. That's why it's giving me issues. Happy Juneteenth, everybody.
Blame, you know, hashtag blame Biden. Got it. Okay, go.
No, Day. Don't give me that look like, oh yeah, blame that. No, that has nothing to do with it. All right, I'm not trying to get canceled over this.
All right, here. I will take the brunt of this, and I will make a prediction. Sometime in the next 5 to 10 years, there will be Juneteenth sales. Stop into your local Toyota dealership for basically 10% off on Juneteenth. You know,
and I agree with them.
There's a joke there about what stores would be having the Juneteenth sales, but I'm not going to.
Dude,
I agree, and I'm black, and I'm saying that.
You know, I think, like I said, I was at
just saying. Okay. I'm the one that saw The Blackening. All right, so
I refuse to see that film.
Well,
everybody got quiet when I say that.
Wait, what film?
The Blackening, the horror comedy about black people that die in horror films. Yeah.
I am not watching that.
And that's okay.
Well, okay, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But all right, so you're talking One Piece, the show that debuted its trailer.
By the way, we're talking One Piece. We are.
Yes, so. And I like it. I like the look of it. I like that it's kind of got more of a whimsical, youthful adventure sort of feel with it. I think the casting for it looks very good. They're using a lot of people that they've already used in previous Netflix projects, so it's pretty much homegrown talent in a sense. Like even the guy who's playing Monkey D. Luffy, he's the last I saw him, he was in Netflix's The Imperfects. Where he's like the guy that turns into a werewolf or a hyena or something. I'm not sure. But I think while some people may be a little trepidatious about something like this after seeing something like Cowboy Bebop, I know, Scott, yes, there's a difference here. The difference is that Netflix went ahead and took something that was essentially film noir and kind of made it maybe a little bit too goofy, a little bit too animated
Mhm.
for its own good in what it did with Cowboy Bebop. Something like One Piece, which is ridiculous in its own right, is something that you can definitely go ahead and do live action. And by the looks of it, they're doing it the right way by staying very weird with it.
Yeah.
All right. The casting looks good.
Mhm.
Even the guy playing Zoro, he is at this point, a legend in anime live action.
Mhm.
Like he's done. He was Scar in the Full Metal Alchemist live action
Okay.
movies. He's done JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He's done a slew of other films, Japanese side. So bringing him into something like this, I think, is great casting. So you're looking at a project like this where you have a very multinational crew, which sticks true to the kind of characters you get on the Merigo. And at least they're sticking with the human characters for right now. I don't know what's going to happen once they get to Tony Chopper and Frankie and
That would be a
the
season
more
2 problem if it gets that far.
yeah, but
Frankie was about
that's going to
season
be more
4
of
or
a question
5.
of whether or not you actually go
But Tony
live
Chopper, yeah.
action or CGI. Here you're keeping it simple, especially budget wise, with probably what you can actually do with some of these actors. We already saw him try to do like a gum punch.
I cringed the hell out
And
of myself on that one.
I'm
I
going to
hated how it
guess that
sounded.
they're probably going to try to take some of the more ridiculous aspects of this and make them as not cheap as possible, but probably use them very sparingly.
Mhm.
Which I think for anything live action doing this makes sense. But again, I like who they have for this thing. I like the direction they're going in. And it gives me hope that at least they're using a property that if they do go a little bit off the rails or if they do things outside of the normal canon that we've seen in the animated version,
Mhm.
it will go well because it'll fit in.
Okay, Day, you go ahead. I'm probably the biggest One Piece fan of the three of us, so I will hold my thoughts to the end.
Probably.
But Day, after you, sir.
So while you was talking, I did take a glimpse of the trailer. I will say this much. It is very interesting. I will not bash the trailer. The trailer was put together very nicely. The casting, I really have to agree with Ryan. I'm like, okay, I'm willing to give these people a shot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because have I watched One Piece before? Yes. Am I a big fan of One Piece? I'm not crazy about it.
Okay.
But
I mean, One Piece is hard to get into.
Yeah, but will I give this show a shot, like sitting there and watching it or binge watching it on Netflix? I may give it a shot because there's been a couple of animation and TV shows I've been binge watching.
Sorry, I'm just like some of these characters, especially as far as like who they would have gotten for like Usopp.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad they're not really going with like the long fake nose of it. It's like they're trying to keep them at least a little bit grounded in like what they actually look
Right.
like.
Mhm.
But again, visually, I like the look of
the
them.
visual. I do like the visual.
Yeah.
I will say that. I'm just afraid that they just doing this, and then when we see it, it's horrible. That's the only fear factor with it. But
like I'm saying, it's yeah.
But like I said, maybe Netflix will redeem themselves. I will say maybe Netflix will redeem themselves because you had Resident Evil that did horrible. You had my even anime live action. It wasn't that bad though. I will say that it wasn't.
The
that
casting
bad.
was solid, I thought, on that, but
Yeah, but the ratings was horrible. Then the Death Note. You know what? Let me get down with Death Note. I didn't mind it. It wasn't that bad because you got to realize they're not going to follow too much of the anime because of its being an American product in this version. So you have to go into the realization that this is not in Japan. This is in America.
so does not.
Got it. Got it easy one. So, in a sense, I kind of see the gripe, but then again, you got to basically understand and get a concept of, yo, they're doing an American version. I got it. But at the same time, all of us are so consumed in understanding of what the Japanese animation was. So when it became live action, we saw the Japanese live action Death Note, but we like when we see this, we're like, I don't like it. It's American, but it's an American audience.
No, it's not. That's the point.
No, I'm talking
See,
about.
that's what I think the difference is with this. With, unfortunately, yes, Cowboy Bebop. That was a very Americanized live action version.
Right.
This, however, does look and feel more like the live action versions of anime that we've gotten from Japan, and mostly in movie form, sure. But the backgrounds, the costuming, it's like it's trying very well to stick to the more grounded aspects of the anime and of the manga. And that's really what Japan does very well with their versions. Their versions may be not necessarily the best. It's kind of hit and miss depending on which brand you go with. Like
Right.
the Full Metal Alchemist movies, not so great. The live action Bleach movie, spectacular. But
Yeah.
it all depends on which way you want to go with it. Are you trying to really like stretch this out or condense it? When it's movie form, it gets a little sticky because then you're trying to condense maybe like half a season or a whole season into one movie, which doesn't always work. Very rarely do they have live action series of the same van,
Yeah.
especially of something that's a little bit more bombastic like One Piece. So, a Japanese based live action, doing it series wise, where they're going to be doing like the character introductions per episode, like everything else,
Right.
it has all the potential possible for a live action version.
So this is a TV show and not going to be a movie of One Piece.
So they.
Correct.
That's what I was about to ask.
Okay, here's the. All right, I'll give you the skinny on that.
Hmm.
This is 8 episodes, cost about $150 million as the overall Netflix budget on this. So you're looking at like 17-ish million an episode. In this
What
case,
was?
Hmm?
Sorry, I was going to ask what was the budget on the Bebop that didn't do so good in that. And they had.
Davion.
Yeah.
Moscow. What do you look at? I'll rant while you guys look that up.
Okay, sorry.
This one, by the way, just to clarify, like I said, is 150 million across 8 episodes.
Right.
So my question in this case, and I've got more than a few, is how much can you do in 8 episodes as a season? You know, you have basically, because remember in the anime, they didn't bring Sanji in until like the 20th or so episode, you know, as the main 5, we'll call it, until like Tony and, you know, the rest of them shut up. So you have to go through, you know, Luffy's intro, Zoro's intro, Nami's intro.
Wow.
You're going to have to go through Usopp and then Sanji. And you saw all of them in that one particular picture. So they're all there. And honestly, like I said, it looks good.
Right.
But are you going to be able to do all of that in 8 episodes? I don't think you can. You know, I think
They
I'll
wait
tell
for that. Sorry.
Go ahead, Dave.
All right. So as far as the live action, the budget estimated for Cowboy Bebop range from $6 to $7 million per episode.
Which is not even half of what this one is.
Correct.
So my question on this case here is, yes, it looks good, but I share Dave's question and concern with this. You know, Netflix has a history of not doing well with their adaptations, you know, and I think a lot of it in some ways kind of stemmed from Kevin Smith's He-Man, which I think broke the trust of a lot of the fans out there, thinking they were going to get an aesthetically gorgeous He-Man, and then you kill him off in the first episode, and then bring him back to kill him in the 5th episode. And that was betrayal in the eyes of a lot of fans. And then to see some of the other content that they've had, you know, with, for example, I mean, right now, you know, you mentioned Cowboy Bebop is out there. They've gotten past the backlash of Cleopatra at this point, but they do not have the trust of the paying audience right now. the board of executives turned down pay raises for the heads of the shareholders turned down the pay raises for the board and for the executives of Netflix because there is no faith here. So you have something that you're dropping 16 to 17 million dollars on to the otakus like myself, who are going to be looking at an Amerikajin no, Nihonjin no anime, and viewing it from the perspective of this is not what I know. This is not what what I am comfortable with. The same problem that Cowboy Bebop had, the same problem that a lot of American anime have. You are trying to hit a demographic that fell in love with the original material and are looking at this through the eye that says this is not the original material. Now, it might be good. It could very well be. I could be wrong here. However, my personal belief is that one season is not going to be enough to rebuild trust with Netflix.
Exactly.
I think a show like this would require 2, maybe even 3 seasons for Netflix to be, for anime otaku to look at it and be like, yes, this is a good series. But I don't think you're going to get it right away. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, so I will say this. I wouldn't say a couple of seasons. I would say probably this and probably another anime series that they basically gained the trust to the fans that actually looked at it. So
Last Airbender is the only one I can think of. Well, they're not an anime, but fan trust.
yeah.
Well, I think they're also supposed to be working on a Gundam as well.
And they're working on My Hero Academia. I don't know if it's
Yeah, they're doing that one.
Now, I can see that being a fan trust because there's so many adaptations. If you screwed My Hero Academia up, you should not be doing any adaptations at all, Netflix. And I'm calling it now. If you screw up My Hero Academia, you should just drop everything and just say, we can't touch these no more.
Well, that's the other side of it too. If this fails, fans might actually cancel their Netflix now, because I mean, a lot of fans would rather be like, I'd rather pay the money for Crunchyroll and watch the original.
Yeah.
So they better step their A game up. I'm sorry, you better step their A game up. And I'm a huge person. I've been with Netflix ever since they were doing the DVDs and Blu-rays.
Same here, yeah.
You know, when Blockbuster got slaughtered by Netflix. So you telling me
they offered to buy Netflix at one point.
Yeah.
Whoops.
But you telling me you making a product and you're a production company and you screw up anime stories? It really depends on who you hire as a writer, who you hire as a director. 9 times out of 10, you can't put the blame on the actors.
No. You don't blame them. You don't blame set design. You blame the higher ups on how this works.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's your name on the line.
And also, here's the other side of it too. Like I said, it's averaging like $16 to $17 million an episode.
Right.
In the middle of a writer strike on an exclusively 100% streaming service only system. Apple TV has the iPhone. Hulu has Disney and everything else there. Netflix has Netflix. So they are putting so much pressure on this to succeed and thrive, because honestly, right now, Netflix is hemorrhaging money because of the fact that there is no new content out there in the middle of this writer strike, which is, I'm hearing now, October to December.
Yeah.
By the way. So that's the latest I've been hearing. So Netflix has so much pressure on this and the Avatar series, which had a couple of pictures come up. Something I have very little faith in. I'm very, very nervous about. And I'm a fan of more than I am with One Piece. I love Avatar Last Airbender was nearly perfect. Legend of Korra was very good. It wasn't quite there, but it had some great stuff in it.
Yeah, I just think the character was annoying.
She was. But I mean, the fight scenes I thought were better, and I liked a lot of what Korra brought to the table, especially every season kind of got better than the last. So the last 2 seasons were fantastic. But those, Avatar Last Airbender, is so much more beloved by the mainstream American audience. Americans may not know One Piece as well, but Japan does. But Americans grew up, and a lot of the Gen Z grew up on Avatar Last Airbender from 2005 to 2008.
Right.
So that is a series right now that Netflix is begging and pleading and hoping does well. And your original creators walked away from it because they didn't like what you were doing. That speaks volumes to me. Yeah.
That's a sign.
And we'll add one more thing, and then I'll get off my soapbox. When the backlash for Masters of the Universe Revelation came out, the first half of it, Kevin Smith called the executives at Netflix asking what to do about the backlash. The executives told him, and I saw it on stage. He had it on stage. He talked about it. The executives told him, We don't care what our paying customers think. What will that be?
And this is why you lost how many people? How many subscribers?
I don't know what their numbers are, but yeah, I should find that
And
out.
They
that's
lost
why
a lot.
in five years, if they keep up with that, you won't have Netflix.
Actually, Netflix is in a bit of an upturn subscriber wise, mostly because of their password sharing cancellation. They actually saw an uptick of people resubscribing because they couldn't use anyone else's password anymore.
That is something, although they're getting verbal backlash from that, though.
Right.
Well, the verbal minority on Twitter or wherever else people may go to like vent their anger, that's always going to be a consensus. I think that's maybe where Netflix maybe has a proper mentality about people's complaining, because it's, look, no matter what you do, if you're taking something that is not completely original and you're displaying it or you're redoing it or you're rebooting it or you're prequeling it or anything else, there is always going to be some consensus that's like, hey, you shouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
We see it in movies, we see it in television, Netflix beyond. No matter what the platform, there's always going to be dissenters. And the more you listen to the dissenters, the very little people will actually get done. And very more often than not, people won't go ahead and venture into anything different or creative. They just keep sharing the same stuff and selling those rights and pulling them back and everything else.
I
At least
think
with
this is going to be
this, you are
forgettable.
getting something of maybe a little bit more of an original take. Hopefully, it's a more palatable take than all the episodes that you would actually have to watch of One Piece to get up to the realization of some of these characters. Because let's face it, One Piece, as well as many long-standing anime, do suffer from filler.
Mm-hmm.
And filler can wear a watcher down. So if we're going to go ahead and we're going to start off with maybe Luffy and Zoro in episode 1. Then episode 2, we get Nami. Then
Mm-hmm.
episode 3, we get Sanji. Then episode 4, we get Usopp.
Mm-hmm.
Or however they want to stretch it out. If you're taking all the fluff out of it and you're getting really to the brass tacks of what people want to see, which is the introduction of these characters in either an adaptation that's a little bit different from what they
You
originally
have to.
saw, or staying very true to either the manga or the anime itself without all the, blah, 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 you're basically streamlining the experience.
I just looked this up, by the way, just since Nami's on screen right now. The battle.
I also want to add another Netflix protege. She was one of the girls that they used for the Fear Street trilogy that went pretty well on Netflix.
Okay. The Nami storyline with Arlong, when basically he sets her free.
Yeah.
That fight between Luffy and Arlong was episode 42. So, and Nami, we're not even talking like Usopp, we're not talking Sanji, we're not talking Tony, we're just talking like the core 3, really.
Right.
I think have been Luffy, Zoro, and Nami. So for episode 43, she joined the crew. So are you going to really be able to do a lot in that amount of time?
Well, the other question. Oh, I see. We got a comment.
Yeah. Let's see.
So far, the One Piece fan
is mixed. Yeah, but the engagement is much more bigger than. Yeah, it isn't a lot bigger in the engagement, I think. But again, it's make or break. Absolutely. Especially with Netflix hemorrhaging money during this writer strike, they're putting so much pressure on that thing right now.
Have we heard anything else, like how far? Because obviously they're not going to wrap up the entire series in one.
No.
Do we know how far of the show they're actually? Because obviously there's over 1,000 episodes of One Piece. Like, do we know any information of how far they're going to try to go with this? If that's going to make fans mad.
They're probably going to skip a couple of episodes, or they're going to fast forward through them.
Yeah.
Sanji, by the way, Sanji joined at episode 30, so you got the 5 of them there. Just a thought on that.
So my guess is probably you're going to go ahead all the way up to, I'm guessing, probably the end of Usopp's arc. Probably stop there for the season, and then if things go well and they pick up, they'll probably pick up with when they finally get introduced to Chopper, which they may take a little bit longer with that story, considering the sentimentality and the fact that you're going to be working with a character that is not 100% human.
Mm-hmm.
I got a question.
East Blues. Okay, about 100 chapters. Yeah. So in this case, I just checked it. Usopp joins in episode 17. Sanji joins in episode 30. And then if you decide to cover the whole battle with Arlong, that's episode 42 and 43. Zoro, he meets right away. So fine, drop him out. But if you take out, for example, the heart of that Arlong fight, and, bringing, bringing Nami to tears, talking about trying to set her free so she doesn't have to be a cartographer for him anymore. I mean, if you take away that kind of passion and that kind of energy and emotion, I think the old school fans are going to be pissed about that, because that was one of the most influential and emotional moments in the very beginning of that anime, maybe even beginning running the entire series.
Right.
So
but I also think that if you're going to hit like the strong parts, then you just hit the strong parts of the story. You don't drag things out episode by episode
it's
like
the
anime did.
The magic in the process, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Sanji was basically,
Look, take Dragon Ball for example.
Which Dragon Ball are we referring to?
Let's take Dragon Ball Z.
Z in this case.
And let's take something like the fight between Goku and Frieza on Namek.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought you were going to talk about live actions.
No.
We don't. That's the Bruno of the show.
Right. I mean, if you went ahead and actually condensed that fight into what it would normally be in a live action movie, it probably would have been a match for, I don't know, 15 minutes.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
How many episodes did that fight take?
Yeah, I know, but listen, that's anime.
But that's anime, though.
I know. But see, Dragon Ball Kai changed all that, and the manga, they did the filler to finish out the season just to be able to try and generate more revenue. Forget that one. That was a 5-minute fight that lasted 9 episodes. So I'm sorry, you got to cut that one out and forget that one.
Because every story, I mean, every fight scene has a story, so you have to get to. It's just like watching a boxing match, or being inside the boxer or a martial artist to actually go through their minds and their psyches of going against the opponent.
Yeah, no, we already saw that in Creed 3 this year with the fact that they went ahead and had like a little space where it was just him and the friend fighting in an audience-less arena with like the echoes and everything. Like, okay, Michael B. Jordan maybe got a little bit too artistic with that fight compared to the other two movies.
No, but it made sense. I kind of like it. It was smart.
Yeah. But even that didn't go on forever. That was its own little thing.
Right.
Do we have a release date?
For what?
For this?
August.
Oh, so it's
right around the corner. But like I said, I guess my biggest point is, you have something like this. If you take away that kind of emotion,
right?
Where she is trapped, and basically working for Arlong until she dies. The very person that killed her adopted mom. It's you take that away, and I think the fans are going to hold a grudge against that. I really do. So,
or would it be something they may do a flashback to?
They could, but I mean, the thing is, it happened in real time at that moment. Right. It wasn't a backstory. It was Luffy literally being like, "I don't care about her skills. She's my friend. I'm going to get her out of this." And it's the first time that Nami really had somebody outside of her mom and her sister to be a true, genuine friend here. Right. And it was, like I said, that's. My concern is they're going to pull shit like that just to be able to try and save time and cut it down to 8 episodes. So, and also hello.
Hello, free.
Baby,
free Chris James. Yeah. Free Chris James.
So that character name is Nami, right?
Yeah.
Where does the character Nico Robin come in?
Later.
Okay.
Episode probably what, 120-ish?
After Chopper.
Yeah, after Chopper. Yeah, Nico comes in. That's a good story too, because she's an archaeologist that's pretty much ready to die, and he brings her back.
Yeah, like if you want to talk about like the top 10 best moments of One Piece, Nico Robin saying "Come save me," absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Ace getting turned into a donut, that's another one. But I think as far as like you're working with like the origin stories of these characters, if these episodes are anything like, an hour long or like the standard 45 minutes as opposed to like a half-hour episode, if you give at least that much time per character, you can tell their stories.
Yeah, I just worry they're going to gloss over a lot of stuff, and like basically in this case, I'll come back to that other comment in a sec. But yeah, I mean, Luffy versus Don Krieg, Sanji versus Pearl. You have a lot of one-on-one fights, and even within the arc itself, that a lot of times happen concurrently with other fights. So will you gloss over that? Like I said, I don't know. Do we think? We talked about this before. Yeah, Robin and Chopper probably not. That's a season 2 thing, I would think. Because the trailer picture that we put that they had there shows
the beautiful thing, like I said, the beautiful thing about these 5 core characters, they're all basically just humans,
right?
Nothing really weird or crazy or supernatural.
Just Luffy, really.
Okay, I just got to throw something out. Don't Luffy have sandals on?
Yes.
Why these don't look like sandals?
You know what? They don't actually.
Wait, what do you mean?
Yeah,
you can see
they're not sandals. They're more just regular.
They look like the shoes in aspect, but they are regular shoes.
Yeah, but
I see his. Isn't that his feet we see?
No,
I mean you see. Yeah,
but the way it's designed, it still has like the cross strap that the sandal would.
But it's not sandals though.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not concerned about that. I mean, maybe he has.
No.
I'll let that one slide, but it's an interesting point.
We'll let it slide, but that's pretty much what I'm saying.
When you pointed that out, my first thought was, is he wearing socks with those sandals? Yeah. But in this case, the villains, the anime, yes, over time. I think they're.
Well, I mean, we're definitely getting Captain Buggy.
Yeah,
I already know that much, and then I'm actually liking who they cast for Captain Buggy because I remember him from Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. He was basically the pro tag on
now, that. Will Captain Smoker show up, and how many cigars will he have in his mouth? And also, will Sanji have a lollipop?
And fun fact, Nico Robin is voiced by Ash Ketchum in the original Pokemon series.
Well, yeah, Metacogin, yeah. So,
I was talking about Victoria Taylor, but yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. There probably has to be some aesthetic changes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm willing to let that one slide in the greater good of things, but again, where's Usopp's nose? That's actually a really good point.
Again, I like that they're sticking maybe a little bit closer to what an actual cosplayer would do, as opposed to really go bombastic with the cartoony changes.
I mean, you can see a little bit of a nose, but it's not like it's pronounced.
Yeah, but we don't need someone going all Steve Martin and Roxanne with this. All right.
Yeah. Okay, no, I think I'm okay with the nose here because you can see it's there, but you can't it doesn't distract too much. I mean, that nose in the anime was just that was just way out there. But it also added the comedic feel of the character. If you have something like that in live action, it takes away from the aesthetic of everything else, I think. Unless you make it a focal point, a la Roxanne.
Right. I mean, that would be like an excuse to make Nami's breasts ridiculously huge when they don't need to be.
Well, not in 2023 Hollywood, they won't.
Fair, yes, but I mean, I like the Nami that we got.
I like that
hair more multicultural crew.
Well, I think they figured out she was French. They had this whole thing. What country is everybody from?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. French.
Yeah, so I believe she was. No, Sanji. I think might have been French.
That makes more sense with the chef thing.
I think she was Switzerland, maybe.
Okay, all right, I can see that.
But yeah, no, my bad on that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I don't color me skeptical right now. Like I said, after some of the stuff, and I don't know if I will ever really still get into it anyway. Because in the back of my 30+ year of following anime, well before it was popular to do so, I can't let go of the old stuff.
But
you have an easier time with that than I do. I know that for a fact. You know what? And I really hope not, because my personal belief is that Luffy is asexual. Which means
I mean, if Luffy wasn't going ahead with any of the other ladies that he's come across in the adventures, especially what's the name of that princess with all the sneak people?
Oh yeah, you're talking much later on.
Yeah, but that's if anyone's his love interest, it's that.
Yeah, but I think he's more, like I said. I mean, I think I've always thought that him
But
and Goku were asexual. So,
but do you think they may do something like that? I mean, yes, it would tick
God,
off
I hope
fans,
not.
but
The entire underlying series, the one word that defined this entire crew was friendship. It wasn't romance. It was not anything like that. It was friends.
The
Friendship.
only romance on that boat was the fact that Sanji tried to hit on
And
every
everybody.
single woman, a la Brock from Pokemon. All right.
Brock times 10, man.
Yes.
Where?
So that's the thing. If they don't make Sanji a horn dog, then you're kind of taking away some of the character. I hate to say it.
Wait,
Yeah.
can
But
I
also at the same time, you have to play it carefully because, it's Hollywood versus, Japan in this case. And also because it could be construed badly and also it might be too much comic relief. Where in Japan, you can separate the comedic womanizer from the fighter. You might have a harder time doing that with an American audience or, basically an American production.
Well, it's like an
Yeah.
on-off switch.
Yeah.
There's like they act goofy, but
Family
then when
was
it's
the other
into
one.
a
Yeah.
fight,
This is as
they
much
go
family
up.
here as there is in a Fast and Furious movie.
Lord Jesus Christ, Lord, please.
Look, hey, Fast franchise already has as many people on the boat as the merry-go does at this current.
Dude.
let's
That
go
and
2 more parts. Woo,
Yeah, I know,
woo.
right? Although it hasn't done that well, but
Yeah, let's not talk about the American movie box office because it is not doing well.
we're going to save that for probably next week when we break down things like Spider-Man and Flash and everything. By
And
the way,
before we, I guess,
Spider-Man
do
did
our
just surpass
July.
Little Mermaid.
Oh,
Spider-Man did just surpass Little Mermaid. but
matter
we'll
of
talk about
fact, we should break. Can we talk about one trailer that that was announced today?
it. What's that?
Oh, I know which one he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kyle. Go ahead. I actually don't know what he's talking about.
He's talking about Kraven the Hunter.
Craven
Okay.
the Hunter.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I saw. So did the trailer get released?
Yeah, the trailer
Yes.
got released, the first trailer.
Okay, because I kept seeing everybody, and I figured, but I didn't see anything. I kept seeing everybody put like posters up. There was like
Mhm.
one
Yeah,
where
because they released the first poster with Aaron Taylor Johnson just sitting there in his lion garb and everything. Yeah, obviously that's a more friend or independent creator made.
One of the
picture
AI
right
ones.
there.
Is that better?
Oh, that's not it either. That's
Dang it.
definitely fan made.
Yeah, Bobby.
You'll see it. It's pretty much just him sitting in a chair.
Mm.
No. The fight scenes, I will say this. At first watching it, it does give you Morbius vibes a little.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
but here's the kicker. That scene where he bites the guy's nose off and the blood scenes, then it gave you hope.
yeah. See, the thing is, this.
So he became the Penguin?
Yeah, there we go. That's the first official poster right there. Now, I will say yes, there was a lot of Morbius vibes, but considering you have this guy who, the minute a little bit of animal blood gets into him, all of a sudden he gets these miraculous powers of speed and strength, which is creative license from what we know of the true Kraven the Hunter origins.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of the whole "hey, animal blood makes us special" thing that Spider-Man gives us, I will say, as far as being an R-rated version, I like it.
Yes.
I like it a lot because it almost gives me the same kind of violence that we should have gotten with Venom and with Morbius.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, unfortunately, Sony's mentality is, hey, since those two are supposed to be good guys, we can't make a hard R movie about them, even though it worked for Blade. But this guy, you can make a hard R movie about, absolutely.
Because Kraven technically is neither hero or good guy, technically.
I mean, if you're looking at the comics, Kraven is definitely a bad guy. He wants Spider-Man as a trophy.
Yeah, but that's not...
Is that lawful evil, though? Or would you consider that just like, true neutral?
Exactly. That's true neutral because he's after Spider-Man for his own personal gain, not, I'm going to kill everybody or put people in harm's way. It's more like I'm hunting Spider-Man for the game.
Honorable about it, sure, but he's
okay. So does that make you a bad guy?
No, but the fact that you have no problem killing people
You
in
just
general,
answered my question.
That's neutral, though.
That's neutral.
how is killing neutral?
That's just like the Punisher.
True to me, basically, the reason he's true neutral is because he's not killing for evil gain. He's killing because the mentality of the world is survival. You know, this is a survivalist world. I'm just living in it.
Right.
That's my personal take, anyway.
No,
Right,
no,
but you
and
can
I
still
agree
beat
with
up
you.
people. Doesn't mean you have to kill them and their lives.
I don't know. Well, Rick Sanchez, I would consider to be chaotic neutral.
Yeah,
That's just like
this
people
one's
say-
definitely more.
And
evil.
he has a kill streak of God knows how many. So if he's neutral, Craven should be too.
Yeah.
Who's
So-
neutral?
There we go. Craven. We're taking.
Okay.
You know, Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool's the anti-hero.
I would
Yeah.
say chaotic good would be for me Deadpool.
Yeah, chaotic good.
You know, definitely the chaotic. It's a matter of which side on that side.
Like, hey Scott, I shot you.
Yeah.
Ah!
Just call me Angel of the Morning.
Wow.
But like with Craven, it's a whole different element. It's not like he's just, you know how some villains has a personal reason why they're killing you and they'll put everybody, your family, into the hunt or kill everybody just to
Well,
get.
I mean, that's essentially what we're probably going to be getting with this movie because it looks like he's taking a very personal vendetta.
But then that's like the Punisher.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to use the Punisher element with Craven.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Although, and if I remember correctly, Craven never had Beastmaster powers where he could like see through the eyes of the animals.
Well, I will say this, when we get closer, we'll do a cash or trash on that. I think it makes sense. Cash or trash actually ended up being somewhat popular when we did it last month. So,
Well, that's because we've pretty much been right with our predictions.
Well, there's a few for July I want to bring up. Maybe next week.
Which ones were we right on? I wasn't there for that episode.
We nailed Across the Multiverse because the whole thing breaks down to
Spider-Verse.
Or Spider-Verse. Yeah, keep saying that. It all breaks down to will it be a decent profit? Which honestly, Spider-Verse hasn't really been that great, but it did make enough that it turned a profit out of it. So we kind of base it on that.
More so than the ones that have followed.
And Deathstroke, yes, but Deathstroke was my childhood hero. Not joking. Says a lot about me. Yeah. So anyway, but as far as we did that one, we did Flash, Rise of the Beast,
Transformers, and we will have one for Indiana Jones when it comes out,
which has already been scheduled, and I've heard I have gotten the entire plot breakdown all the way through, start to finish, top to bottom, everything in there, and I will release it privately to anyone interested. But
no,
Ryan is the one I really want to give it to. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
No,
you can give it to me. I can care less.
Do I have to do Tracy Morgan?
No,
I don't want to have to do Tracy Morgan, but I'll do Tracy Morgan.
Well, do it. Do Tracy Morgan.
Do it.
No.
Hell also,
no.
I just want to.
No.
Wait for it.
I was expecting the last one. You never gave me the last one.
Yeah, you never got the last one.
You had that delay. He had that delay of like 4 seconds on that. Before. Oh well, yeah, that's okay. Go ahead, Rob.
I was gonna say
no. Okay, I'm good.
I was just gonna say, Ryan, I just want to let you know that I love the Transformer movie and I thought it was great.
Thank you. So my review wins, Ryan.
Well, that's the box office. It went from first to what? Fourth, maybe sixth.
Hey, I'm just excited at the crossover that's coming up, and
Comics.
I know we talked about it last week, but I wasn't here for that, so that's why I'm bringing it up now.
Marvel-wise, there was better with anti-heroes, yes, because anti-heroes are more interesting. You know, this is an era where Captain America will not do well if it was released today. You got to have something that's a little more indicative of today's more, shall we say, hostile society.
But not every villain has to be an anti-hero. Sometimes a villain should just be a villain.
You know what? Anti-heroes are more interesting, though.
Exactly.
I mean, here's the thing. If you took the Joker and put him into you look what Joaquin Phoenix did. He was an anti-hero. I was originally thinking comics, but I'm going to go in this direction with Joaquin Phoenix. That is an anti-hero character.
for this
So
day and age.
it made him very interesting, and as a result, he won an Academy Award from that.
Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes that blurred line between good and evil is a little more interesting from a Hollywood standpoint than like pure lawful good like Captain America.
Yeah, but then if every villain has that blurred line in it, then you're
There you
basically
go,
whitewashing
Jay.
evil. The concept of evil.
Yeah.
Why, Kyle? Why?
He loves Red Hood, by the way. Hardcore fans, huh?
Well,
DC has its own issues. TC needs like a nuclear. TC needs Oppenheimer levels of nuclear help.
Well, it's interesting with the Flash, the way that's going right now. That's underperforming, which we'll talk about that in due time.
I like that movie too. I really enjoyed that.
It was good, but I think it could have been better.
Oh, yeah, maybe we'll get a season 2.
It could have been way better, and I felt as though the villain choice was kind of weak.
See, a lot of people are liking Jason Todd, which is funny because originally they're like, kill him off, we hate him. And now it's like, he's Red Hood. We like him again.
Thank you. So basically,
he had to die to be reborn.
He's Jesus.
Stop it.
Dude, Jesus starts with 5 letters and a J. Jason.
Oh my God.
And I will say this, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all keep pushing for me to play Jason Todd in the next DC, I don't even care if it's
one of the finalists in the Muscle and Fitness contest recently. So congratulations on that. So
yeah.
Oh God,
how many different Batman they have,
is...
you could be a Jason Todd for one of them.
Oh, he said Snowflake. Snowflake, I don't remember. I thought he meant Snowflake. Like Snowflake and Safe Space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
and Safe Space.
Feeling powered by cocaine.
Yes, okay, that's the one I remember. Yeah,
okay.
They actually showed him snorting in the comics, and then he would just get like
years ago. Snowflake and Safe Space. Who doesn't love Wolverine? There's two people out there: people who like Wolverine, and then just not people. So
wait, who's Wolverine?
Exactly. He's the mascot for the Michigan college football team.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So.
What a badger.
Craven, we'll see what happens. Again, I don't have a lot of faith in Marvel stuff because
they're following the Venom trope. I mean, they're taking the villain, they're giving them their origin story, and they're doing it in October, and they're making it bloody and gruesome.
But by the way, can I also point out
formula as far as that's concerned?
This dude has abs for like days here. I mean, that's a full freaking 8-pack there, isn't it?
Yeah, don't forget that's kick-ass.
Yeah. Which said it was going to redo a new version of Kick-Ass.
Probably.
And in the comic book, it's a woman now.
Of course it is.
Yes. Why not?
No. So I'm sure the comic sales will immediately just die from that. Because anytime you gender swap, the sales die immediately.
So. I don't know. I mean, you're talking about the same series that had Hit Girl, and Hit Girl was a fan favorite. So
but Hit Girl was
but that's a different character.
Yeah.
You're taking
right, but it's in the same universe where we see that, just because someone is a woman, especially a young woman.
No, but he was saying gender swap, like we're taking
gender swap does not usually do well in comic sales.
Right.
Statistically and historically speaking, it doesn't. I've talked to former comic book owners on that. Like, yeah, we as soon as they come out with the stuff, we stop making money.
So, I don't know. I mean, it's helped some characters. Look at Thor.
Love and Thunder, the movie that literally Chris Hemsworth is like, yeah. That movie had way too much comedy in it.
Yeah, but as far as comics were concerned, I mean, it revitalized the Thor name by making it Jane Foster.
I don't think here's the thing. She-Hulk was a different character. It was not a gender swap. Yeah. She was her own person. Jennifer was her own person.
Right.
So to me personally, like I said, it's a little different. It's kind of like Supergirl versus Superman. You have like the cousin. So they're their own person in this case. It's not like you decided we're going to make Batman a woman now.
Like, how many of y'all had the same?
I mean, they technically did in the Metal series. They one of the universes, the evil Batman was a female. That was the Aqua one.
Oh yeah, you're right.
When they did the Dark Knight Metal series,
that one I never saw that one. Okay.
Question.
It's in the comics. It's where they had like the Red Death and all the other characters, and then
which of course they brought in Red Death for the end of the Flash TV series.
Flash, which they gender
swapped. Don't ask me why they used Red Death.
You know what? Oh yeah, I like your background.
Whose?
Yours.
Mine? Oh, thank you.
You got a bunch of comic books.
Well, I am going back to selling comics. Shout out to that. But
actually, you know what? We'll just turn this over at this point. You, by the way, congratulations, good sir. You had your first movie premiere, I believe, right?
Yes, sir.
So there we go.
Look at him.
Wait, all the way through.
That outfit looked familiar.
I know. I don't know where I've seen it before.
Yeah. Looking suave and dapper at God's Country Song. Go ahead, dude.
Yeah.
So yes, I was just in a movie called God's Country Song. It is on PureFlix. I got to go to the premiere, and we got to do press for that. So I got to interview all the different people that were there. Got to see Matt Lautner. I think I'm saying his last name right.
Lantner, actually.
Latner. Yeah. So I got to see him. That was a big shock. The reason why he was there is because he's best friends with the main character of the movie. They've been friends for like 10 to 15 years. The main character sang at his wedding, and they just celebrated their 10th year anniversary. So that was really cool seeing him. It was cool when we were there, which I don't have my little sheet. I did. So when you're at a movie premiere, at least for this one, they gave me a sheet of all the different people that I may run into.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool is when I was flipping through the pages, I saw his name and I was like, oh my gosh, he was just at the con this last weekend. And yeah, so it was really cool. And then what I did, which I forgot that we're going to be talking about this, so I didn't put my little paper. I got I got each actor to sign by like their different name things. So
we'll go back to your picture. We'll go that one.
But yeah. So yeah, there's me. I actually look nice in that picture, so I like that picture.
You look good in that picture.
You look good in that picture.
It's weird.
You look like you have a gun strapped to your back. Like I'm not sure what you're going to do.
The red and black, I think, work well for you because it just, I don't know, it offsets in a certain way and it stands out. And I think now I was watching Style Theory with Matt Pat, and he was talking about the fact that a lot of times at events like this, it's not about dressing conservative; it's about dressing to be eye catching. And
right
now, Day pulls that off. What you did at Transformers, I mean, dude, you rocked that look. But I think credit Rob, you rocked this look pretty well too.
Yeah, I didn't even process until you guys said something about Day's look, because so the day before I went to this movie premiere, I was at Dallas, and we went to a Ross for Less store, and I found the red shirt. I already had the black tie, and then I went to Goodwill and found those dress pants, and everything just worked right out. And then I was like, I'm gonna wear this to the movie premiere. And then that's when you guys were saying, well, it looks like you're stealing Dave's look.
Well, yeah, like I said, this is literally Dave's look from like the other day.
Right.
So you got that one.
Like, anytime he goes someplace professional, it's red and black. Because he wants to be Red Hood, and he is sticking to that color pattern until he dies.
So
Rob should go
me and you are best buddies. We're Red Hood buddies.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, we could do the meat suit, sure. Just give me like a few pounds of bacon. I could probably sew something together.
Yeah, my problem with that is actually I ended up nude really quick.
So that movie was really good. It was pretty cool experiencing it. And if you guys do watch it, you will see my face, which is awesome. This was my second movie, but the first time you actually see my face, because of the last movie, you see just the back of me and you get to hear my voice. This one, we're lip syncing to a song, and you see me, and I was like, "Yo, there I am!" And then
what song were you guys
see my
hand
to? For like the first minute.
What song were you guys lip syncing to?
One of the songs that are featured in the song. Okay. I don't know the name of the song because they haven't released the songs, but they were all original. There's like 10 to 15 original songs in that movie, and it just had a great lineup cast. And
so you weren't doing like George Michael's Faith or something like that? So.
No.
Gotta have faith.
Right idea. I think wrong artist for the kind of movie that they were making.
Well, I don't know. It could be George Michael or Limp Bizkit. Like Fred Durst did a version of that like 10 years ago too.
He did?
Right.
Yes, he did.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
But
I'll tell you guys off air how I know that.
But no. Okay. Rob, I do have to ask. Now, obviously, just based upon what I'm looking in this picture with the title and the different organizations, it's obviously a faith-based film.
Yes.
So where would we be able to find it outside of like having to sign up for a PureFlix membership if they have that?
Well, so what I was going to mention with PureFlix is doing, if you go, it's doing a 1 week free trial, so you actually can go watch this movie for free. Just make sure you cancel your subscription after the week, or you will be charged.
Is that what you want to say about the Christian-based PureFlix? It's like, just
sign up and then just dump the thing.
But yeah, and also to plug PureFlix, Running the Bases, which was the first movie I was in, is also in PureFlix. So when you're getting that 1 week trial, you can watch 2 movies I was in for the 1 week for the same free price.
Time.
And I'm going to say this because since he's promoting the film he was in, you could go to Tubi and watch my film for free, which is Manhunt.
Okay.
And it's on Tubi. So
there we go. I'll have to go on there.
Thank you, Kyle. Hopefully they're not watching.
Hopefully they aren't watching tonight. Oh, like watching right now? Yeah, I hope they're not watching it right now while we're live right now.
But... Exactly. You got to watch us.
You got to watch after.
I don't even know if any of my stuff is on Amazon Prime still or not. But if it is, hey, good luck.
I'm still on Amazon. Dude, I think everybody's on Amazon Prime.
And then the
other
thing we did right before this movie premiere is I went all the way to Dallas Fan Expo, and I met legendary Hayden Christensen.
You got both types of Anakin.
Yes.
Yes.
1 week.
Yeah, Clone Wars Anakin, and then basically precursor Anakin.
Yes. And great experience. Yes, I was Buddy the Elf. And what was great about that is about 2 months before this convention, I went on Facebook and to the Dallas Fan Expo page group, and I said, "Hey, does anybody want Buddy the Elf in their Hayden Christensen picture?" And these wonderful people on the side were like, "Sure." And so I got a free picture with him. Nice. Yeah.
Listen, you got notoriety. You got 30,000 followers on TikTok or something like that too. So
too. But yeah, so we got to meet Hayden Christensen. I got him to sign a movie poster of 90 Minutes in Heaven, which is another faith-based movie. And it was the first one he ever signed. And a cool, quick story on that is I'm going to be in a zombie movie. I don't know when that comes out, but I'm going to be in a zombie movie, which is not a faith-based. Not a faith-based.
Is this like the resurrection, after the,
So not a faith-based, but I'm going to be in a zombie movie. And the reason why I bring it up is the kid that I worked with was one of the kids in 90 Minutes in Heaven that worked with Hayden that gave Hayden gave him a signed Anakin toy when the kid was like 6 years old. Now he's like 14. So I got even though they said no phones, I said, please let me show him this picture. It's going to mean a lot to him. And I got to show him the picture of the kid all grown up. He even said, oh my gosh, he's all grown up now. And to tell him that he said hi. So that was a really good reaction.
Nice.
Wow.
We also got to meet, I'm going to see who he throws up next.
Yeah, you're gonna wait on me until I decide to do. There we
go. There we go. So we got to meet Ralph Macchio, which is the Karate Kid, and always have a blast meeting him. One thing that I appreciate him that nobody else does is that I know of. Let me rephrase myself. His handler takes your phone and captures the moment, of you getting your stuff signed and stuff like that. There's not really anybody else that just does that. So they they even said, we want to give you the ultimate Ralph Macchio experience. And it was cool when I saw him. He's like, every time I think of Elf or see you, I'm like, he says, did you hear that? So it was a fun experience.
Obviously, Ralph Macchio, we remember best from My Cousin Vinny and quite literally nothing else.
And don't forget about The Outsiders.
He was Ponyboy, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I was making half a joke on that because nobody. I know he was one of the kids in My Cousin Vinny.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
But wait. Scott, haven't you met Ralph Macchio before, or have you?
I have not. Marty Cove smoked cigars in my car once.
Okay, all right. I knew it was somebody from the series.
Yeah, he and I were in a couple of films. I think I died in one. because we were partnered up at the time. This was basically pre Cobra Kai for him, so I'm really happy
Right.
that But in this case, we were doing a slew of like Eric Roberts kind of films, things like this, and
Oh god.
Things where the budget was, shall we say, adjustable. Is that a delicate way of saying this?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, whenever you say Eric Roberts movies, I automatically think, okay, it's a movie that's made to make Eric Roberts look intimidating.
By the way, funny thing about Eric Roberts, when because he bounces all over the country and does stuff. Whatever his dialogue has to be put on cue cards where he tells you to put them. So if he's going to be doing something where it's going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it'll be like he will read the cue cards where he decides his head and his eye line's going to go.
I really hope Christopher Nolan didn't do that for him.
I don't know. I probably not for something like that. But I've seen it a couple, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Nice guy, cool guy. But he goes to so many different projects, and his wife is like his agent, so she will just like book him for $2 to $5 to $10 to $15,000, and she'll just like shuffle him off anywhere around the country, and he'll just read off the cue cards and be like, all right, cool, we have an Oscar nominated guy on our film.
Man, that Oscar nomination stuff, it sticks with you. Yeah. Regardless.
But it was really impressive because I saw him alongside, I'm not going to mention the name of the project, but I saw him alongside, I forget the woman's name, but she did 3 seasons of Orange is the New Black. She was Dustin's mom in Stranger Things. She was in Entourage, I think. She did a Succession. She's had a pretty good career. And this woman had 5 pages of dialogue, and she had it nailed. But she's sitting there talking to him, reading off of cue cards. And it was kind of funny because, she had like 5 times the amount of dialogue he did, but no cue cards to work on.
Right. But I mean, that's like the 2 main splits when it comes to like actors. It's the story of Vince Vaughn versus Jennifer Aniston when they had the breakup.
Catherine Curtin, by the way.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's those people that go ahead and they do the studying and they do it proper and they read through the lines and they do the blocking versus the guys that wing it.
Yeah.
One way or another.
I have a feeling also he's FICOR. He's not full SAG in this case here. I'm just going to go out on a whim and think that's probably the case here. But yeah, he's probably not hurting any right now because he works constantly. The only person I think is even relatively close to him is like Ernie Hudson. If you ever see Ernie Hudson's like resume, it's freaking insane. That dude is the hardest working guy in any of the Ghostbusters franchise.
He is the working man's Morgan Freeman.
Yes. And it was nice to see him in Ghostbusters Afterlife, and
yes.
What was going to happen with the next movie, which is currently filming right now.
Yeah, they're shooting in New York right now.
Yeah, it's under the name of Blaze and Firehouse. That's public information, by the way. So if you see casting notices for either one of those 2, that's Ghostbusters 4, 5, 2.
4.
I don't know.
It would be considered
4. 5. It's 5.
I guess it's 5. I don't know. I mean, but here's the thing:
5 if you include the offset with Kristen Wiig. Yes.
No. No, it's 4. It's 4.
Yeah,
I would probably call it 4.
Yeah, because they only did 2 original ones back in the right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we don't count we do not count the 2016 Ghostbusters.
It's that's a spin-off reboot. It's a requel.
Yeah.
But I was going to say they also had the video game in 2009, which had the original cast in it.
So that was considered part 3.
That was like I would call it 2.5. So.
And then the other person we got to meet was Steve from
Casting Networks, Central Casting. Start there. And in my case, don't do what I did, which was basically find jobs on Craigslist.
How do you get it?
But if you are going to go ahead through a website, signing up for Backstage is perfectly good. Casting 360, not so much. What other sites do you use, Scott?
Central Casting is not bad. Mandy's
Central Casting is pretty much more for like background work.
It is and it's not. Actors Access is you get a lot of commercial non-union work. A lot of it depends, I think, on where you're located too. For us, for the 3 of us anyway, Rob notwithstanding, we're out of the New York-ish area. So I'm 8 miles from Manhattan. So I would cross the border constantly. In your location, if you're in, I was going to say, well, Kyle just brought up Huey Loftus. Huey Loftus is out of Pennsylvania, specifically Philly. So depending on where you are, there is always casting stuff around. So put it, if you see it, put it in the chat where you're located.
Yeah,
but
like with Rob, I mean, obviously he's more, Middle America. So anything that's probably dealing with faith-based films, he
Louisiana,
really likes to
Atlanta,
work out there. They have like the rolling plains, the more wholesome locations, not a
okay,
lot
you're
of
out of
like
Florida. That's
dirty
not bad.
city Oreos.
Florida
Florida's
has
great
a
for
lot
adult film.
Yeah.
Florida. I was gonna say, I don't know if you want to do acting or voice acting. But if you did want to do voice acting, there's a wonderful website called iwannabeavoiceactor.com. It's D. Bradley Baker is the one that created that. He is a famous voice actor, is known for tons of things, but he created that. That's got everything you need to know, the tips and stuff that you would need to know to be a voice actor.
Yeah, voice acting you can do from anywhere.
Florida,
Yes.
let me mention this. With Florida, you have two places that are great, but you have to travel. Atlanta and Louisiana, and basically Louisiana or Baton Rouge. Both of them have. Georgia is killing it right now. I mean, Cobra Kai films in Georgia. Walking Dead was down there. There's massive tax credits in those two locations. However, in your backyard right now, there's probably a lot of independent, a lot of non-union work. I would definitely start non-union. Don't even worry about SAG, because once you go SAG, you're not allowed to really do non-union work anymore, and it becomes a massive pain in the ass.
Once you go SAG, you don't go back.
Unless you go become a FICOR scummy piece of crap like myself or Eric Roberts, and then you're fine. But that gets complicated in other ways. So non-union, basically,
even the dog didn't.
The dog agrees with me. But there's a myriad of non-union work that you can probably find in your area, through, like you said, Backstage, casting networks, Actors Access, and you have to pay a monthly fee for these things to post.
But trust me, those are the gigs that'll like pay it back in itself.
And the good news is for certain things like Backstage and Actors Access, they send the things to you based on your demographic. So your age, what you look like, your ethnicity, all of these things, they will send it to you, so you don't have to hunt as much. It's a good little program that way.
Plus, casting directors actually go on those sites to look for characters and actors and everything for their own projects. So you can put yourself up on there, like a Facebook sort of thing, and you don't even necessarily need to do the searching sometimes. They'll come to you and they'll address you. Hey, would you like to at least do an audition or send a tape in for this role if they like your look?
Yeah.
That's how I got the gig I did back at the beginning of June with the True Crime series.
You got something at the end of the week, right?
Well, I have something to do at the end of this week. Yes.
Okay.
And then next month.
I have things. I have verbs that I'm going to be doing at the end of the week. Punk rock flea market. Kyle's like pro wrestling. Yeah. Listen, the funny thing is, if you got the physique for a pro wrestler, there's modeling involved.
Yeah. Just work on your charisma.
But yeah.
Follow the steps of The Rock. First, be born into a family dynasty. Secondly, make sure that you go out for football, so this way everyone notices your physique.
Canadian football.
Football.
Better shot to get in the door.
Well, because Florida didn't want them. But don't forget it. I know we're talking to somebody in Florida.
The Orlando Breakers in the USFL, so there you go.
Yeah. That's Rock's having a hard time.
Yeah, I know. He's not as popular as he used to be. But
it's poor Rock. He's the good news. Still over his millions.
Here's what I'm going to say that's going to help you guys a lot. If you are, like I said, non-union, a lot of the work right now is non-union because of the writer's strike. So a lot of production companies and a lot of studios are looking for alternatives outside of that. Reenactments. Evil Lives Here, Mysteries of the Museum. I mean, there's so many of those, what they call informative murder porns. Those things are so easy to make like $100, $250 a day. They'll give you a dialogue. They'll usually basically, have you say a couple of things, maybe you ad-lib it, but it's national television content. So with Evil Lives Here a couple months ago, I did that. And they just, it was one of those things where it's like, I'm a cop. I'm telling this woman that her mom is dead and her mom, her sister murdered, typical informative murder porn. That's national television and also direct deposit too.
Well,
so
or you do like I did.
Clean up on that stuff, man. Oh,
actually play the killer.
Clean up on that. So
I was going to mention one of the people that I also met was Michael Zapkin, which I know y'all are familiar with from the Comic Book Men. And speaking of the writer's strikes, I asked him, do you think the Comic Book Men will ever come back? And he said, you never know with this writer's strike. We may get asked in.
Basically, when the writer's strike happens, reality television increases because there's money to be made.
Right.
So I have my own thoughts on certain things like this. Because obviously I'm about to lose my health insurance because of the writer's strike, and in the process, basically we'll have to go on Cobra or risk it losing it entirely. So I have my own very direct opinions on the best laid scenario being paying $1,000 a month for the next 6 months to a year. So yeah, but
good job, Rob, dragging that up.
Hey, no, we've been.
No, it's fine. It's okay. Like I said, I'm more accepting and less pissed off than I used to be. So let's see.
But I was going to
go back to One Piece real quick. With the Keep effects, I just Sanji with his heart eyes. I think that would look weird. I think that would look weird.
No, I mean, I don't think they're going to do the whole like bugging out heart eyes sort of thing.
Oh no.
I could see them doing like some sort of like a little CGI where it's like I've seen it in other live action things where it's almost like it comes under a spell and there's like this pink glitter that goes out and maybe the heart is in the pupil, that sort of thing.
You get that little sound of just.
Yeah, I could see them doing something like that where it's like low key, but it's still expressing the same idea.
Yeah.
Because again, the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to go too cartoony and take yourself out of the realism that they're obviously trying to establish by making it live action.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the head of the merry-go, it's an actual real lamb, not like this cutesy curly sort of like, hey, look at my happy face. No, it's a real freaking lamb. It's a real like. It looks like it's going to attack you.
All right, we're gonna have to wrap this up real quick. We're already at 70+ minutes at this point. So
that's what One Piece is. I mean, you talk about like the longest anime ever.
Yeah. And we haven't even touched any of the stuff with Heaven and Enma and anything like that. And that's only like episode 150 or 180. So, Rob, do a quick recap on this if you don't mind.
Quick recap of Dallas Fan Expo. It was a blast. I was running with my head cut off because I had to get a lot of assignments done for people. And then I got to interview a couple people that are on the page. Also got to meet Steve from Blue's Clues as Steve. So that was fun because the last day I went as Steve. And it threw off that picture right there. And it threw off a lot of the people that have seen me in the years as Buddy because they're like, wait a minute, you're not Buddy. Why aren't you as Buddy? So it was nice. This was a lot of time that the different voice actors saw me as myself instead of being Buddy the Elf. And I still got to do a cosplay. But yeah, I had a blast. It was a good event. There was a lot of different vendors and the drive was pretty good. And I can't wait for next year on that one.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything to make you cry, did he? Because that's apparently just what he does now. He'll go on TikTok, he'll do some message, and it's like...
This was my...
He played an autistic guy that committed suicide in an episode of Law and Order. Let's just point that out.
He actually, so to recap or to just re-mention real quick, just based off what you just said. So I met him at Lexington Comic-Con, and I will say what made me almost tear up is he popped his head out of the curtain because he was grabbing one of the other Blue's Clues hosts because all three were there, Josh, Joe, and Steve. And he looks at me and says, I was in full-on Buddy Elf. He said, I've been eyeing your outfit all day. And I love it. And I'm like, I love you. So I was like, Steve just told me he's been looking at my outfit all day and he loves it. So yeah, that was like, but yeah, he told me he was jealous of my sweater because I've had that sweater for the last 12 years that I found out at Goodwill. And when I found it, I was like, that looks like Steve's sweater from Blue's Clues. And I grabbed it and it says it's a large, but it's grown with me. So.
Oh, nice. God bless him. He basically is like our generation's Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
So I hope he gets his own show again.
Well, he came back. He's made appearances, and he was in the new movie they did, and then he was in a recent episode of Blue's Clues.
I know, but I don't want him to be just like the first Blue's Clues guy. I want him to be like his own entity.
He's the guy that played the autistic kid that committed suicide in an episode of Law and Order.
Okay, something a little happier.
Dude, no episode of Law and Order is ever happy. This shit's on constantly in this house.
I love how that's the way you end this, Scott.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. There you go.
Go see The Flash. Go see Transformers. Go watch movies in the theaters. Help out.
Don't see the Black End. Don't go see the Black End.
No, go see the Blackening. You would ever expect it to be. If my white butt can go ahead and recommend it, you know it's got to be good.
That's the scary part.
Damn right. It's a horror comedy.
But in that note, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Davion. That's Scott. This is Ryan. This is Rob. And we're Tales from the Film Set. And we'll see you later next time.